Hello, my name's Heath Miller, and today I'm going to be making a video about my first semester at Virginia Tech. This is just to help inform y'all if any of y'all out there are thinking about coming to Virginia Tech. Um, I've been there for a semester, and I'm going to give my thoughts in this video, and I'm just going to try to make it concise and succinct, and just try to add some stuff that I didn't see on YouTube previously when I was applying. So to start, I'm part of the honors college, and I'm majoring in residential real estate under Pamplin College of Business. So that's where my viewpoint's coming from. My first impressions of campus is kind of, as I said, I just finished one semester, so I don't know everything, but I'm just going to give my initial thoughts. Um, one to start off, one of the most surprising things for me when I first got to campus was the sheer amount of people. They were just, I think they have 38,000 kids on campus, but that doesn't fully, you don't fully see all of that until you go there. So just the first couple days walking around and seeing how many people there were, it's kind of a shock for me coming from a small town in Virginia. Um, but you get used to it. Another thing that was a little bit overwhelming at first, but then you get used to is the size of the campus. At first, it looks really big, and to an extent it is, but all the classrooms are mostly centralized on that main oval like campus around the drill field. It really only takes a couple days to get used to that. Just walking through it, even for walking, it probably only takes you around 15 minutes to get from one side of campus to the other for all the important buildings. I brought a bike, and I would definitely recommend it if you are good at riding a bike. If you don't know yet, though, now is probably not the time to learn, just because I've heard of a lot of people crashing into other people, and that can be hazardous to all the people who walking or the people biking. And then lastly, as far as transportation goes, they have a really good Blacksburg transit system. Sometimes it's honestly just faster to walk, depending on how packed the buses are that day. If you're just trying to get from one place on campus to another, I don't know. That's just my experience with it. But they do have very good drivers, very good transportation system. But you'll figure that all out when you get there pretty quickly. It's not too complicated. For me, I am at Eastern AJ, as they call it, or East Ambler Johnson. It's one of the nicest dorms on campus because, as part of my honors college curriculum, they make you stay in that specific dorm for 2 years. It has AC, but it also has a 2-year contract. So if you're looking to be off campus second year, not really going to happen. You got to stay in East AJ for 2 years if you do that. Um, Also, probably a little more expensive to stay on campus, but very convenient. But as far as dorms go, I wouldn't stress about it too much. I have friends in Pritchard and Slusher, and a lot of the ones that get a bad rep, they might be slightly more dirty. But from what I've heard from my friends, first of all, it kind of makes up in the sense that some of those larger dorms actually have really good senses of community on their floors. So like a lot of my some of my friends have gotten together intramural teams or stuff like that, just from the guys or girls on their floor, and it just fosters a really strong sense of community, studying and whatnot. So I wouldn't stress too much about the dorms. I know I did coming in, but they're all more or less the same. AC doesn't make a huge difference besides the first month or so. After that, at least for the fall semester, it just gets cooler. And so you don't really notice it too much from what I've heard. Academics. So I'm in the honors college, so that adds a little bit of it, but I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm sure you've heard this from other people, but it's a lot different than high school in the sense that probably, especially for the first year, the overall classwork is probably less than whatever y'all were taking in high school. Because I know if y'all are watching this video and smart enough to get into tech, y'all are taking hard classes in high school. It's probably going to be less work overall outside. In my experience, you have to study a lot for the test to do well. And again, I'm in residential real estate, so that could change from major to major. A good rule of thumb is for every class hour, you do 2 or 3 hours of study outside. And I found that that doesn't necessarily hold true for every class. You're just going to wind up spending If you're in business, you're going to spend more time on business calc than you are on English or whatever. It doesn't necessarily translate, but I guess it's a decent rule of thumb. I would also just recommend going to teachers' office hours, especially for your core classes, for your classes which within your discipline. Just getting to know the professors can really help you down the road and just in the class. Like I've been to a bunch of office hours and they've literally just given me points back on like tests and stuff for just, kind of showing up. So it helps. And yeah, most of the teachers are helpful. It's definitely an adjustment at first, but it's not the worst thing ever. As far as the honors college goes, this won't apply to everybody. I think it's good overall. It's like a good program. I don't love the first UH 1404 class. With that said, they do teach you some useful stuff and they go into a lot of transdisciplinary approaches and just working with other groups. It kind of just depends on how you work as a person, what you're interested in. That said, you only really have to take that one class. If you don't like the honors classes as much, you can do more stuff outside the classroom to make up for it, like getting certifications or other stuff. For honors college, it depends on what your goals are, but I think the benefits do definitely outweigh the cost. They have so many nightly events and evening events, get to know your people on your dorm, get to know like the seniors, the juniors. There's just a ton of events that are put on by what they call apartment fellows, which are just usually just sophomore, junior, seniors who stay in the dorm and help freshmen. And then secondly, I'm in residential real estate, so that's Pamplin College of Business, and then I'm in Blackwood Department of Real Estate underneath Pamplin. That's been really good so far. I've only taken two real estate classes, one business calc class so far in really relation to real estate, but the teachers have all been great. Really, all their majors, but Pamplin, they just do a really good job of networking events. Between that and the job fairs, I've already met like a dozen companies, people I can call in the spring or in January for internships or connections. So I think Virginia Tech does a really good job of that with their students. Another important thing, this is important for me, it may not be as important for you, but food and dining is very good here. They're all great. So I go to a bunch of different ones, but they all have a lot of choices for protein, which is important to me. And then there's just a wide variety of food options. So whatever you're looking for, they'll have it there. Um, and it's nice to have a good meal, especially if you're feeling down after a test or something. It's nice to have a good meal instead of a bad meal. So that does make a big difference, for me, and I'm sure a lot of y'all can sympathize with that. As far as extracurriculars, I'm sure y'all are aware that football's a huge one. I don't know. We just hired James Franklin, so we'll see how that goes for next season. But so far, I've been able to get all my tickets through the lottery system, so they're free for me personally as a freshman student. That may not apply next year if tickets are more coveted than they were this year, but even this year, the games are pretty sold out. So, get season tickets if you want. I have friends who get them. I don't think they're disappointed that they got him. The games are very energizing, very hype. Definitely a good thing, even if you don't like football. But what I've really enjoyed is intramurals. They have a very good intramural sport set up. I played flag football in the fall, and then I played volleyball. That just finished a couple weeks ago. I'm on winter break right now. But yeah, flag football, volleyball. There's basketball, ultimate frisbee in the spring. Really looking forward to those. Great way to meet people. Great way to just have fun. Get some exercise after studying. As for campus extracurriculars, I've joined BCM. A lot of super awesome people there. If you're looking for Christian community or just community in general, BCM is like an awesome ministry. Really just a bunch of awesome leaders. So I go there and I make a lot of sports teams with those guys too. So those have been fun. And then, yeah, I joined the real estate club as well. And that's been good so far. They have a meeting about once a month, but good networking. They've had good speakers there. A common criticism I hear about Virginia Tech is there's not a lot to do in Blacksburg. It is a small town, especially for college towns. Like it's basically the smallest college town you're going to get, for a college that big. But I've never found myself being bored. It's just for me, between intramurals, clubs, BCM, schoolwork, gym, football games, all that stuff, you're not going to get bored, in my opinion. Uh, yeah, like either Virginia Tech or I mean they also have good food in Blacksburg, so I don't really know what they're talking about. It's enough to keep me entertained. Maybe once I'm a junior or senior, I'll get, bored or something and sympathize with that. But as of right now, I think Blacksburg is a great town. It's kind of a, quiet, nice little town. So I really like it. Very scenic. I'll put some pictures up of, some of the snows we've had. Just super beautiful. And the fall too, just super beautiful. It's just very, the entire town is basically built off the college. So it's a nice place to live. Uh, Very comfortable, especially for students, because it kind of revolves around all the students. Just to kind of wrap up, it's not perfect, but it's got strong academics and getting stronger. And obviously the school spirit's off the charts, especially for football. And yeah, just if y'all have any questions, I'm sure this did not cover all your questions, but if y'all have any questions, just put them in the comments. I'll respond. This is like the first video on my channel, so I'll have plenty of time to respond to comments if y'all are interested. All right, have a good one.